Hello everyone, and welcome. Yes, my name is Arrowfire, and welcome back to an episode of my top 5, but it's fair to say there's going to be a few things to talk about in this episode. Yep, this is really a TFNation 2023 recap video. I'm going to go over some of the things that I experienced at this year's convention, and also go into some of my pickups from the wondrous place that is the Trader Hall. I love TFNation, and it was so good to be back there, seeing everyone in really what is our big meetups of the year. It has a real coming home vibe of meeting people in the flesh that you may never met in the flesh. There's some people that I've been speaking to for the last 3 years, and I've never met them until this year. So it was really good to just put some names to faces, meet some old friends, some very dear friends, and just have a great time talking about robots. And so for those of you who don't know, TFNation is Europe's largest Transformers convention, which is located out of the Birmingham Metropole Hilton Hotel, and has been there for some years now, and will actually be there next year, because at the closing ceremony from this year, we saw the confirmed dates for the 9th to the 11th of August for 2024 for next year's TFNation, which of course I will be there. There's also talk of a mini convention going on in Manchester in March next year as well. But this year we saw the great headline act, which was Sue Blue, RC and Beast Wars director, as well as many other things, making many appearances there, doing panels, doing signings, and it was great to hear some insight from her. We also had the musical talents of Jahan in the wondrous Clubcon on the Saturday night, as well as many other TFNation regulars that really have turned up every year, such as James Roberts, Nick Roach and Ed Pierre as well coming along. So it was really great to see a variety of acts there. So two things that I experienced, and one of them was at Clubcon on the Saturday night, we caught the end of the charity auction that went on, and whilst we didn't see every item that went up for auction, what we did see was, as mentioned in the previous year's TFNation, there was the unreleased script of the 1986 movie that had been reprinted, so scanned in and printed, but it is not available in the public domain, and that went up for bidding. And I actually wish, when I knew what it sold for in the end, I actually wish I went in for that. It was good few pages thick of something that you'll never see. That's Transformers memorabilia. That's historian worthy. So I was very tempted to stick the hand up, but the bidding was going up here and there. It was actually quite fun. I haven't experienced that at a Transformers convention before. I think it has happened maybe in auto assembly in times gone by, but it was good to witness, good to be a part of. But also there was a brilliant final item, which was, if you remember, there were these style postcards or stamps last year that were commissioned by Royal Mail with Transformers Marvel themed on them. Now, there was an RC one that had been specially created just for TFN, so it was a one of a kind. It was blown up to A4 print with a frame around it that you could bid for. There will never be another one of these again. And you could take it to Susan Blue, who was there, to have your personalised message on it. Then the curator of that would then countersign the back of it to prove its authenticity. And that went into 4 figures. And that was incredible. That was incredible to see. And it was going up between 2 people, a bit more here and there, here and there. I almost accidentally bidded for it, trying to wave for someone, which Jamie behind me decided to swap my hand out. I said, no, what you're doing. Quite right too. But it was great to see. Again, it really kind of built the hype up of why you were there. Not only are you looking at Transformers memorabilia, but people are really into it. They're wanting to pay very big sums of money for things that you won't get again, and clearly means so much to many people. But also in the Clubcon was the cosplay. I do not miss the cosplay if I can help it, and this year was no exception. We had some great ones. I got some snaps as well that I'll send up, and there was some brilliant one going on. They all came on and did like dance routines, and we had some like almost drag-inspired Starscream. There was about 4 entrances of Starscream. There was a great one doing a humanoid version of Megatron and Ravage, and it was a lady coming on stage with a very IDW-esque grey or white hair and a grey trench coat, and then Ravage was presumably her daughter, and a little kitty cat costume came running on stage, which of course everyone went mad for. It was won by this brilliant, or at least the mech version of the category was won by this great version of Getaway, and that looked fantastic. It was all covered in like Energon splats, even had the license plate on the back of it spelling Getaway with a reverse 3. It's brilliant. I love seeing that level of detail, that people clearly have the love and the passion. They've got to spend months putting this stuff together, these costumes, and then painting their faces, doing their costumes, practicing their routines for a minute, 50, 60 seconds of glory on stage. But it's really great to see, and that is what TFNation means. That's why it's so well attended. And also, that was, if I'm led to believe, the most attended TFNation ever. Now, we say that every year, but I think there was maybe a thought that this wouldn't be so much. And there was no other convention going on at the hotel, not really on the overlapping same time. But for this to just get bigger and bigger when there wasn't rollover tickets, and yet it still had a great number of attendance. I was looking at it on Friday night. Friday night really has that euphoric feel when you're meeting up and you just want to socialise, you just want to see people, and that's so great. Then Saturday's kind of your day to get down to business, if you like. The day you can get into the trader hall with the early access, should you want it. You may want to look at that if you're going in future TF Nations, because the queue for the non-early access went all the way back. However, I was able to get an early access ticket, thanks Paul, and let me show you what I got. So one of my first purchases was from Kapow, and I got Studio Series Scourge from the Rise of the Beast film. Now, I haven't done much with him, I've just taken him out of the box. I want to keep him in vehicle mode, I've yet to transform him, but I like him, and I got him for quite kind of market rate, so nothing really special, but I saw it, I wanted it, and I got it. But what I also got, because it was quite early in trading for Kapow, they gave me a nice little gift box as well, which when opened up came with Power of the Prime's Cindersaur, Masterpiece MP36 Collector's Coin of Megatron, which I don't think I've got that anyway, and not that I really collect them, but it's nice to say I've got one now, and a tiny metallic die-cast Ultra Magnus, kept in the box. So I think I've seen these before. I don't really know what I'm going to do with him. But free treats, they didn't have to do it, they just handed me a box along with my purchase. It was a very welcome gift. Thank you very much, Kapow. Speaking of free gifts, I also met up with Spiderfather, who I've spoken to on Twitter, or X, depending what you want to call it now, and they proceeded to hand out these small gifts, which was these, which I think were Microbots, Micromasters, which when I've opened it up was a tiny little Cheetor. Look at that. Isn't that nice? There's a few you can get, Maximals and Predacons, but it's nice. This is again what TFNation does. It just does, it brings out the best of people most of the time. You get people with free gifts coming up to you saying, hey, I've done this, would you like this? Would you like that? And they don't have to do it. No one has to do it as part of access or anything like that. It's just kindness of your own heart. I'm not even sure that's right, but that's allegedly a transformed Cheetor. But it's a nice thing nevertheless that whether it's people that you've spoken to come up to you and say, I'm handing these out, would you like one? It's just a nice thing to experience, and that is really the heart of TFNation. Well, I might as well keep with the Cheetor theme. I then went over to Primetime Toys, friends of the channel, and I picked up another Transart, thank you Graham, Transmetal 2 Cheetor, and it's a surprisingly tall figure. It's not very die-cast, it's not very weighty, very, I don't want to say fragile, almost just tactile, maybe, because it's got like this kind of, given its structure and frame, it's almost graceful, if you like. I think I'd say like well balanced. That's what it feels like to me. But yeah, that's pretty nice. It's surprisingly big, and of course very glossy, very shiny, very chromy, which Transart do very well. So I got that. Thank you very much, Primetime Toys. Also from Primetime Toys, they gave me this tiny little Jazz. They came with a little box. Again, freebies, little throw-ins that you don't have to do. There was about 4 to choose from, so I got a nice little die-cast Jazz, which will look quite good on kind of city box scale, I think. Maybe that's a hint for something a bit later. They also gave me this along with the purchase, which if you go to their website and enter the code POWERUP10, you can get 10% off your order from the website. So it seems that anyone's in for codes these days. Thank you very much, guys. Touted for you. One thing I wasn't expecting to pick up, or wasn't trying to pick up, was Thrilling 30s, Generations, Sandstorm. I just keep hearing about how good this figure is. And I've never owned it, I've never owned any Sandstorm of any kind. I've always liked the colours that he is. And I thought, you know what, I'll actually get it. I'll actually pick it up and see what the fuss is about. And out of the box, well, it didn't come with a box, it's very nice. It looks like one of those timeless moulds, so I guess I get it. But I'll be interested to see how it holds up in both modes and which mode I decide to keep it with, and also where I'm going to put most of this stuff. I then stopped off at Shins of the Wreckers and I picked up Masterpiece Ironhide, all in box form with load of accessories, possibly more than what Ratchets come with. Can't be, can it? But again, I've never owned an Ironhide. This is my first Ironhide. 36 years old. It's not... Ironhide was never one of my favourite characters, but I've got a G1 cast, and it's kind of one of the glaring omissions when you've got a Grapple, an Inferno, characters like that, Trailbreaker, and you don't have an Ironhide, it kind of does stand out. So I've got him, I'll get him in some kind of pose. So yeah, quite pleased with that, and for a very good price. Thank you very much, Shins of the Wreckers. I also got from my good friend Andy from Transformers The Show was a set of Predacons. Well, 4/5 anyway. So I've got Hungar, Cutthroat, Sinatwin and Ripper Snapper. I do not have a blot. However, I have found one on eBay, so I should be able to make a G1 Abominus because again, I never could before. So thank you very much, Andy. Continuing with loops of the Trader Hall, I went back to Capel and I had a little rummage through the boxes if you can get near them, and I found something that's, well, I saw earlier in the day a box version of these guys and I was going to get it, but as is so often the way, if you don't get it when you see it, it will be gone when you want it, and that in particular was this set. The Power of the Primes, Predacons. I could have got the box set. I didn't even look at what the price was, to be fair, but I thought, you know what, I'll come back for that, and sure enough it had gone. But I found 4 out of 5 of them box underneath. This is just the one here. I've got the rest over in the cabinets. So the only thing was these were individually wrapped. Someone's collection has been sold to them, so I haven't got necessarily all bits and pieces. I've got most of, but I'm quite happy to keep these guys separate. I don't have to combine them. But I haven't got Rampage. Now, I have spoken to Capel and I've said, look, when you head back, could you, and when you finished unpacking, could you have a look through and let me know if you just got this one Power of the Primes Rampage kicking around? I'd love to take it off your hands, considering I've got all of the others over in the shelves there. I'm quite glad I've got them nevertheless. It's just because I'm a big fan of the Predacons, and maybe these are a little bit dated. I passed up the opportunity to get them in the first case, but this is probably the most G1 Predacons that we're going to get now. Unless you can get the oversized versions, which I have tried and not been successful to get, but there you go. I have 4 out of the 5 Predacons, hopefully a 5th one to come at some point. Whilst I did make a list, and there was things I didn't get at this convention, there was one thing that I was dead set on, and thankfully it was found for me. G1 Razorclaw. That's it. That was what I wanted. Now, I did have an option to get G1 Predaking. However, there was 2 options. There was a very boxed up, all complete, maybe even original Predaking, going for quite a bit of money. Then there was a loose one, which I did nearly go for. I talked myself out of it because I'd already spent quite a bit of money at that point. But I didn't mind. It didn't have to be a G1 Predaking. I could get that at one point, but if I didn't, then I did want my original boy. The one that I could never get back in the day. The one I always wanted. The thing is as well, this was bought for me. Before I could even get there, this was a gift. Someone sniped in with a £20 note. And that was fellow YouTuber Bumblejumper82. My good friend Ed came along and said, I found this for you, I'm buying it for you. Thank you very much, Ed. You're an absolute sweetheart, as always. It was great to see you there. You didn't have to do it. And again, just summing up the spirit of TFNation, I've now got my very own G1 Razorclaw, just to really be not the centrepiece of my collection, but kind of the Grail, the one that is kind of your favourite, that you look at and have real fondness over, a bit like I do with G1 Grimlock. Not that I had this toy to play with when I was younger, but he was always one of my favourite characters. And now I've got one. That feels a bit completion for me. Feels like I've got what I never had. So thank you very much, Ed. It's a lovely gesture on your part. But we're not done. 2 more to go. I went back to a stall that I can't remember the name of, but I bought from it before at TFNation. Tons of third-party stuff, some really good stuff there. And again, stuff was flying off the shelves. I didn't want to go in for this, but I've always struggled to say no to it from when I've seen it. It looks so pretty. Fans Toys Sovereign in toy colours. So I've got the toon accurate version of this, if you like. Not the T version, not the M version, it's the purple version of Sovereign. Very much season 3, season 4 in the original mould of this, but I've always loved how that looks, and getting it in hand, I don't think the camera's going to do it justice, but that head sculpt is so good with the yellow eyes, the piercingness of it. When you get it in hand and you see the purple, you see the red of the shoulders as well. That surprised me. I already knew the mould was good because I've experienced it before, but the paint deco is what you're paying for here. Now I have 2 variants of the same mould, which is a little bit indulging, maybe. Something I'd put off because I've already got one version of this. But it was a good price for what it was. And yeah, I do love how it looks. It's stunning. Typical Fans Toys paint job, and you're not disappointed getting something of such a rare colour scheme and quality. But that wasn't the main event. Generations Metroplex. I didn't want this, other than I did look for one on eBay quite recently, but the price was okay. It is incomplete with no box, as it were. Still comes with its accessories, although it is missing a scamper, which is a shame. I'd like to think I'll grab one at some point as well, but I don't mind. I've wanted this, and because it's such a rare item now, the prices for these, I've seen these go up for 400, 500, and it wasn't that, thankfully not. But this feels again a bit like a Grail to me. Having never had this, it's so big. I had to do some explaining to the wife when I got back to the table, but I'm very pleased I've got this. It's brilliant. And it even comes with some nice lighter features. Again, I've never owned this.
Metroplex heeds the call of the last pride.
Ha! That's brilliant, isn't it? It comes with its other head. It's a bit more, I don't know, toon head or placid head. Just a greyish face, where this is a more metallic face going on. I've yet to change that. I love it. I'm so pleased with it, and yeah. This is a good stage of Titan bots. Now, I'm not really sold on Titans. Like the Nemesis and the Ark, I did see people walking around with them at the convention. I thought maybe, but I have no emotional connection to the Nemesis, however good it looks, to a ship that was designed to crash and then was a base. But Metroplex, Scorponok, Fort Max, and there was a few Fort Maxes flying around at the convention, let me tell you. There was some really good stuff there, and I got this early on. Again, this was from Shins of the Wreckers, who gave me a good price on it. Thank you very much. I'm very pleased. I'm very pleased with all of what I've got. I went a bit mad, I don't mind telling you. And there was already something waiting for me at home that came through the post anyway, which will be a review to come shortly. But this kind of capped off a haul for me. However impractical it was getting this in the car, and there's maybe a picture on social media of this sitting on my back seat in my car on a journey home. But yeah, that was a splurge that was TFNation. It is but once a year. I want to show you these postcards as well. So these came as a sort of a souvenir gift from TFNation when you got your wristbands, when you did your registration. And it was a nice pack of all of them printed off. So Optimus, Megatron, Bumblebee, all done in this Marvel design, Grimlock as well. These are pretty cool. This was the RC picture that was blown up to then be signed by Sue Blue, that was won at the auction. So the one of a kind was of the bigger scale. Soundwave as well. Slug, Actually says slug on there, to be fair. Swoop doesn't say dive bomb, no, does it? Sludge, snarl. Oh, I didn't see this one. I didn't see this at the end. Little sort of cutout ones of all 5 of the Dinobots. All in a row there. And you won't see, but just around their heads is like where the small stamps will be. Where's the zoomed in version, if you like. So it's all taken from the group shot. So as you can see, Big Snarl, that's just from that group shot there, just blown up. That's cool. And they were giving these out. Again, this is what TFNation do. They put this on for the fans. It really does feel like for the fans. So now we got the fun enjoyment of the blues, the come down. What do you do now? Oh, Shockwave and Starscream. It's a long wait to the next convention, and I do say this, if you're ever anxious about going, please don't be. Even if you just come and sit by yourself, you know, that's fine. Take it in small steps. That's my, what, 3rd, maybe 4th TFN? Must be 4 physical conventions, maybe 3. It's got to be 4 now. And you find new people to talk to. You get a bit more confident, yes, but the convention's ever changing in a good way to making it much more inclusive for the fans, putting on things. And what I really saw this year, really because it's time and life, there's a lot of people there with their kids, and it becomes a generational thing now. The kids have got their own Transformers. Yeah, there might be rescue bots, animated, whatever, but it's being passed down and it's a family event. How many things can you say that for? That's so great to think that this is a convention that you can bring your family to, and there's something for everyone. This is why they put on the Clubcon as well, because it's been said in the past, something, if you like, more for the adults, so something in the evening perhaps. But I loved it. I met some great friends there. They know entirely who they are, and they know I love them dear. I'm so glad to see them, and I hate it when it's done. But through TFNation, you make these everlasting friendships. You make these groups of friends that you actually then meet up of outside of conventions, because it's such a long wait to the next one. I've actually got something hopefully planned in before the year's out with my group of friends, and I'm really looking forward to it. But I really can't recommend it enough. TFNation has that welcoming aspect. I can bring my wife to it, who isn't necessarily a big Transformers fan, and she can still enjoy it. She will still come to the cosplay and love seeing things like that. And that isn't just me, that is a story that's commonly shared, that everyone else can bring people that are, if you like, fringe members and still really have a good time. I also want to give a big shout out to Toy Food there, who of course were predominantly in a trader hall. I think probably had the biggest setup in the trader hall, with all of the charity auctions and every charity item plus their sales that were done. It's been said that they have managed to raise something like £50,000 combined for Mary's Meals, the charity that they do this for. At least 22,000 was taken of the 2 days of trading from their desks. And that is great. That is so, so good. And you cannot believe the stuff they have. The most obscure items, anything from G1 restored to modern day masterpieces. Stuff is on the shelf, stuff goes. So it really is incredible, and it's great to see charity work being done on this scale. Of course, there's all of the Forge items there. People were having commissions picked up, t-shirts were being purchased, some of Lucan's tees there were being worn by some of the attendees. We also had Robosen in attendance, and my god, that's incredible. 2 versions of Optimus Prime. In G1 Optimus Prime, movie Optimus Prime, there was the Bumblebee, and yes, there was the new self-transforming Grimlock there. What really blew my mind was the Bumblebee, and I didn't take a video of this, so I have to use your imaginations. Bumblebee was splat out on the floor, down face first on the table, and I thought, okay, the figure's fallen over, it's tripped over, or someone's pushed it over, it's flat like a star. The robot manages to get itself back up to a standing position on its own. That's incredible. I don't know if I'd have one in my collection, but I understand. That's pretty cool when you see the level of engineering going into it. When you see it in front of your eyes, you think, That's kind of next level stuff. It might not have the fun of transforming a Transformer, but it's your fandom being made with highly advanced robotics. Not many fandoms can say that. I don't think Star Wars could say that. I don't think anything like that could. So we have to be a little bit blessed to see such high-end technology on display in our fandom, particularly at Europe's largest Transformers convention. And there we go, that is my roundup and haul from TFNation 2023. Pretty sure there's more than 5 entries there, something like 10 or 11, and yeah, it was a bit of a splurge in the trader haul, but I wouldn't change it. I regret nothing. The post-convention blues are definitely kicked in now, but I wouldn't change it. It's great to see, and I will be going back next year. It goes so quickly. You're enjoying yourself so much, seeing your friends really in your elements, and yeah, it's just fantastic. I even had some people coming up to me, recognising me from my channel, which was great. I haven't experienced that before, not really. So yeah, I cannot sing it highly enough. If you are thinking about going, I do encourage you to do so. Do put your notes of some of your pickups in the comments below. I'd love to know what your experience was like and what pickups you got as well. But thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share and hit that subscribe button, because I will see you on the next one.